welcome to my channel. This is my first official video in English. I created this channel with the intent to share my favorite books that I've read along the way that have really made a change in my life. And for today's video, I'm actually going to share my learnings regarding the Latte Factor by David Bach. I will leave a link below so you can get access to the book and buy it on Amazon. I definitely recommend reading it. What I'm going to cover in today's video is just the basics of the book. There's a lot more content in here that can make sure you are completely set up for retirement. So let me share the 5 things I learned from this book. Right in the first few pages, I got my first action item. The main character of the book is walking and she sees the following quote: "If you don't know where you're going, you might not like where you end up." And this is a fantastic quote for the rest of the book because it talks about the importance of getting prepared for retirement. What happens mostly is we fail to prepare. And then when we are at that age of retirement, we don't really like where we end up. And we might end up blaming our family members or the conditions in which we had to live or work, when in reality it's our own fault. So with that in mind, I took a few action items to make sure that I outlined for myself what I would like to be doing for retirement, at what age, and how much money it would take for me to retire comfortably. Lesson number 2. This one's important for me. Stop impulse buying. A lot of us, when we go to a store, we go with the intention of buying 1 or 2 things, and we end up coming out with 10 more things that we really didn't need. This is programmed at our subconscious level. It is just our regular beliefs of money, which are very ingrained within us. So for lesson number 2, a few of the action items I took is making sure that I address my beliefs in money, and that I try to change that around by changing my paradigm in order to understand that I am capable of having money and keeping it and not just using it to buy useless things. So I do recommend that if you are one of those that when you go out you impulse buy, you try to refrain yourself from doing so. And one of the best ways is to really notate what are your beliefs with money and try to address how to change those. Number 3, pay yourself first. This one's very important. You're working for 30 plus years of your life, and if you're saving nothing of it, you're really just working for others' benefits and not your own. So in the book, David Bach does talk about saving at least the first hour of your workday, making sure you put that into a retirement account, such as a 401k that gets a match contribution from your employer. This was something that I had already set up for myself a long time ago. I would recommend that you guys talk to your employers and see if there is an option for you to set up a 401k. But also don't forget to ask, how much does your employer match per year? This is very important. Usually it's around 2 to 3%, but some employers may match upwards to 6% per year. With this one, I would say do not forget the power of compound interest. If you type in your browser compound interest calculator, you'll be able to find one through investor.gov that can tell you how much you can have saved if you put it into an investment account, a 401k account, and for how long. So let me show you how that works. Alrighty, so this is how the compound interest calculator is going to look like. Let's say we start with $1,000, and then from there we're going to contribute, let's just say $200 per month. I am 26, so let's just say I am going to do this for around 40 years more. And just for the sake of time, David Bach keeps talking about a 10% rate of return. So that's what we're going to put in there. And we're going to leave this at annually. So in 40 years, I will have this amount of money saved in my 401k account. If I started today with $1,000 and do a monthly contribution of $200 for the next 40 years. 10% is very doable, guys. I know one of the things he talks about in the video is how people fail to believe that we can still get this. Depending on your knowledge around investing, once you have a 401k account, you'll be able to invest through it. This is very doable. It all depends on what you're investing on. Number 4 is don't budget. Put it all in automatic. This goes for your monthly dues as well as your savings. David Bach makes a good point that it is difficult to start saving and actually do it every single month, and we have to constantly be logging in into an app to make the transfer. So don't waste time, go in and make it automatic so you don't even have to think about it. And finally, number 5, which is my favorite one. People don't start saving because they don't see the point of it. They have no real goal in mind as to why they're saving, just because overall in our current times it's very easy to use credit cards or to simply really focus on work and forget about our goals. I think a really good analogy that David Bach makes in his book about this is big hat, no cattle, and he goes to explain this analogy, but this really goes for the big hat means, the people who maybe show off and have the best cars and have the best clothes, whatever it may be, but really their financial life is a wreck. They're very much in debt, and they're going to be so for the next 10 years of their lives because they failed to plan. And having no plan, as we know, is just planning to fail. The best action to take here, if you have a goal in mind, if you want to take a class, if you want to buy something specific, is to start saving for it now. If you don't have the liquid assets to buy what you're trying to get, you should not be putting it all into a credit card, because what makes us think that we're going to be able to pay that credit card off in time before the banks start assessing interest? This is what gets so many Americans into trouble. They put everything into their credit cards, they max them out, and they continue to live in this cycle of debt and almost poverty. Because yes, they have enough for food and shelter and whatever else, but they really have no money to do anything else because they're constantly in that circle of paying off debt and getting in debt again, because they're failing to address their subconscious beliefs about money. Like I said, I'm very passionate about that one. I think we all deserve to live a stress-free life as much as possible. And I think getting into debt is just one of the things that keep most Americans up at night instead of getting a good night's sleep, because they're worried about how to pay that off. I do want to share though that one of the action items I would take here is to make sure that your beliefs around money are correct and you're not centered in a poverty mentality, because that is going to keep you from moving forward. I do want to say that it is possible to live debt-free, and I think all of us can do it. To end this video, I want to talk about 3 money myths that are addressed in the book. The first one is, if we make more money, we'll be rich. This is false in most situations. Here's why. If you make more money, you're going to be taxed at a higher bracket. This means that you're going to be paying more taxes. And this also means that unless you have healthy money habits, you're probably going to be spending more because you have that money accessible to you. I have a friend who recently went through a job change and he's making more money. And one of the things he shared with me is, for example, if his paycheck before was $500 and now it's $1,000, he's taking the extra $500 and putting it into a savings account, because he hasn't bought a new home, he hasn't bought a new car, therefore he doesn't have a need for those extra $500. That is such a wise thing to do that most of us never actually do. If you're going through a time where you're earning more, I would definitely take the tip from my friend of putting the extra into an account instead of spending it all, because at the end of the day, within a few paychecks, you're gonna find yourself saying, well, I'm making more, but I don't feel like I'm earning more, which is something that is very typical and that happens to many of us. Number 2 is, it takes money to make money. I think this can be true in certain things, for sure. I'm not going to say that it's completely false, but this goes very well with people who want to start savings and think that they can't. If you write down everything that you spend on for the next month, and then you go back and look through everything that was unnecessary, you're going to notice that all that money could have gone to savings, and you could have started your path to a better financial life. So I don't think that necessarily it takes money to start putting money aside. This can definitely be tailored to work for all of us, no matter how much you earn. The last one is that someone will take care of you. I think this is a very good myth to address, especially when we're talking about retirement. I am originally from Mexico, and I know that one of the things we like to do, because usually we have a good family system that will take care of us when we're in retirement, is we simply leave things up to our children to take care of us when we're in retirement. This is definitely not something that should be a burden for our kids. It's not something that we should just let for our kids to figure out, because if we notice how everything is going, Prices are going up for everything. The quality of life, you know, is definitely more expensive now than it was even 10 years ago. So leaving our retirement to our kids is such a huge burden that they should not have to deal with. But also, waiting for someone to take care of your financial life is going back to the first point. If you don't know where you're going, you might not like where you end up. We have to take personal accountability for our debt, for our money habits, and also for our retirement. And this is such a great book to address all three of them. So again, I'm going to leave the link below to the book so you can get it on Amazon. These 5 tips are just the beginning of the book. It is a quick read, I would say within one day if you have the time. I am currently taking his Latte Factor class, so I'll definitely come back with a video to review that and what I've learned. So far it is great. There's a lot of great information, and it even contains a specific formula to become a millionaire that I'll share with you guys for sure. So definitely stay tuned. I do thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe, and also leave any comments with your questions about this video, and I will make sure to address them. Thank you. Bye.